Hello, it's me. We're kind of going to do a Q&A. I'll probably edit an intro in because I like doing that. It's kind of a thing I'm doing now. But just in case not, this will probably do. Okay. The idea here is basically that you get to meet people who are here. One of us isn't, and get to know us a little bit. I'm going to answer some questions about the stream and things. No, it's not a stream, is it? Questions about the channel and the campaign. So that's totally getting it. Okay. Cool. Okay. So everyone feel awkward for 5 seconds and then just go back into what we're talking about. Okay. So you joined us in the middle of a discussion, which Matt then went, "Let's all do this on camera."
Sometimes I'm smart.
That's about
your character is.
Where we are in the campaign by the time you get this, which I'll hopefully put in, is everyone's about to go up to 3rd level, so we're kind of just discussing choices and where we're going to go with it.
I'm not kind of committed already.
Yeah.
Cleric.
Yeah, you've done it at 1st level, so it's not a problem. Yeah.
That is a thing for you, isn't it?
That's what I mean, yeah. I literally have to commit straight away. Is that the only class that does that?
Wizard.
No. Wizards is second level. Yeah, I've already tried. I went Divinity, but it's 2nd level is for Wizards.
But all Warlocks from the beginning as well.
Warlocks make 2 choices.
Yeah.
So they make a choice at the beginning about their patron, and then they make a choice at 3rd level about whether they're going
their
pact, tome, their pact, so whether it's tome, blade, or chain.
Those are the 3 in the PHP.
Those are the. There's also in Xanathars, I think there's like celestial.
Oh yeah, there's the divine soul.
Yeah, and I can't remember the last one.
Yeah.
But I mean, I want there to be a warlock class that's just like absolutely in service to like some kind of mechanical lawful creature.
Yeah.
And it could be called the Lawlock.
Just
for the name alone is worth it.
I thought I was with you until Warlock.
I mean, one.
Like the idea you just become this machine.
I mean, 1, get out. 2, that's what the DM's Guild is for, and 3,
You think I'm
fairly certain that's just the Mechanicum from 40k. I mean, I'm not gonna lie, like as a choice, a character choice thing, I don't like the wizard ones. I've
They're
purely
not very flavorful.
No, I've purely chosen Divinity. Not for there's no reason that Ezekiel, as a historian and interested in the natural world, should have Divinity. I have been a power gamer and legitimately only chosen it because of the rolling 2 dice at the beginning of the session.
It speaks to his intellect, I suppose. Yeah.
It does a little bit, like none of them fit at all.
Whereas things like a druid, for example, you've got, is it more based on a certain place where you grew up and learning that, like Circle of the Land, or is it about your transformations, or even the new ones with your connection to the Feywild and stuff? Whereas the wizard, it's just, what kind of spells do you like?
I think part of it's a legacy thing, though, isn't it? Like, they were the 7 schools or whatever of magic from like 2nd.
But that's only for classical.
Yeah.
In terms of in-game, that only works as a classical where they learn.
Yeah, indeed.
If it's in a scenario with us where it's just like an academy that doesn't have a specialisation.
Yeah.
The thing is, though, you could talk around any of these topics in circles for hours. And
which we
could
do.
What we're going to do.
Yeah, we'll probably do that and then cut it for the interesting bits.
Yeah.
Maybe no interesting bits.
Okay.
Cool. But you're thinking of you got a hard decision, really, because you don't know what you're going to do.
Yeah, it's even harder now. Sonny just showed me there's a ton more I didn't know about. It was between 4 choices and there's loads more.
The only thing is, if you see anything that's from Unearthed Arcana,
can't do it, right?
Well, no, you can, but just check with
Sam's
Ben.
entire class.
Yeah, the artificer who, Sam who isn't here is playing is.
Divine Soul.
I do want to talk about the mystic.
Shadow magic and storm sorcery. But there's, I knew about wild magic, but there's like stone sorcery, there's sea sorcery, there's pyromancer, there's phoenix sorcery as well. That sounds amazing.
Yeah, some of those are non-canon. Like, I have to have a look at them.
But yeah, I mean, this has opened up potential choices quite a bit.
It's just on a wiki. I feel like the rest of the discussion, she's just going to be like...
Just Becky will get back to you.
So yeah, I might look at some of these other
talk us through.
As long as it's not like a Pokemon-based sorcerer, I'm happy.
Charmander!
That's just conjure woodland beings, isn't it?
You're okay, yeah.
No.
Yeah, but you already have your own...
So the list
that's here. Can I be a Pokemon summoner? But no, like, not character, like, progression-wise, but I want to know what's in the egg bin.
What's in the egg, Ben?
I'm not telling you.
What's in the egg, Ben?
If you can bully my wife.
What's in the egg, Ben?
She knows.
Yeah, it's fine.
Whatever it is, it's gonna be my baby.
Yeah, absolutely.
I really hope it's Togepi.
It's Togepi.
Now that is TM.
Right.
Totally bad.
Again. TM, but if it's Togepi, can I not be fucking stupid like everyone else in that show that never figured out what that creature was doing? Like, since this egg,
I'm going to make this really hard for you now, you know that.
that's fine.
Yeah.
No, but it's like, since this egg creature appeared, we've been teleporting and mysteriously have been saved, yet none of us have linked the dots.
Literally, the only time this thing moves is when we do magic stuff.
Anyway, right, let's put
I have
Club.
no
Yeah, let's move on from that. That's something else. And Pokemon
Anyway,
will soon, they do that.
You wanted to
Yeah,
talk about the
it
character
will.
classes.
I don't fancy
Yeah,
being sued. I have no part in this.
Well, I think we've been through kind of a lot of them.
Yeah.
Actually,
What I wanted to talk about is like, it's something that I complain about on the stream a bit, is like none of you chose pirates really, obviously. But I want to know what made you choose those characters in the first place, like
Okay.
why that person?
Do you mean
why
like-
have you added that person to the game?
do you mean like, why did you choose that, or why did you choose that?
No, I don't mean that. I honestly love the
Sam's
idea.
not here.
Yeah.
True.
I know that, for example, I know that Sam chose the Artificer because when me and him worked together, I showed it to him and he was like, I want to have a big gun, which is brilliant because it never works. But like, that's why he was like, I want to have this big gun and I want to be like this. And he kind of, the character just crystallized at the moment we were talking about it. He's like, he's a scientist who thinks that no one respects him, and he's kind of very like,
No, I
and
don't.
the original concept for that character was much more like, almost like, you know, the professor from
You think about the future?
Simpsons.
Oh,
You know,
oh, yeah.
With the howling and the
Yeah,
making and
like
oh god,
that,
not
but
the
like
face.
really
Got it.
offended by people and like
Yeah.
nasty, like that meets Mr. Burns.
Excellent.
Yeah, so like that's where he was coming from, and then like obviously, then he scaled him back and made him a university student, things like that. But he very much, this idea just crystallised, and he was like, I've got to have that. So I'm just wondering what thought process everyone else went through.
Okay.
Whether or not this comes out on like what you were talking about with Sam's character and no one respecting him, like if this is out after episode 5, this won't be a spoiler for everyone in the group.
I'm planning not to put it out
But-
until we're up to date.
Okay, but like
yeah.
like in the next session, because of this egg, like I'm gonna be going to Sam, and I'm gonna, even though I threatened to catapult him away, I'm gonna be going to him and saying, well, I think I actually might need some of your assistance, but we're gonna do it in a controlled manner. But yeah.
So you want reasons as to why
Yeah,
you chose the
yeah,
character
so
choice?
you were
I like to get inside your heads.
I think for me, when you first the idea that the first sort of session is us getting onto this ship to get somewhere else,
Yeah.
it kind of made sense that we're already on land. We're not necessarily going to be pirates. We're going to be fleeing from somewhere.
So it's my bad description.
So
it's the DM's fault.
in a sense, it was your description, but it meant that it made it open that we could be whatever we wanted.
Yeah.
And we've got to get on a ship and we've got to go wherever, and then whatever happens in between happens in between. So for me, I'm an orc barbarian and I'm running away because the rest of the other tribes trying to kill me.
Okay, but why pick that?
Because it's just an interesting. It's different, it's a different story. It's not exactly.
So it's
normal.
more that you've never played a barbarian before.
Yeah, as well. So I'm playing something outside of my comfort zone. I want to play something that's agile, quick.
Okay.
That's true. You are
I am
a total edgelord.
So it's less that it's different, because obviously the orc kind of story is quite a common
In a
one.
different way to you.
But it's
Yeah.
And the orc is, but for you, it's quite different.
It's quite different for me
Okay.
because I normally play the fast character, the one that's always on top of the initiative board, or that's just good at dodging stuff and generally that's
Drax the Destroyer.
yeah. That's the type of character I play, like a ninja or cyborg or samurai or something similar with it. That's quick. That I want to play something different because it's boring to play the same thing over and over again. It's like insanity, isn't it? Doing the same thing over and over again.
Yeah, there is that type of player who just literally almost carbon copies the character every time they play.
Yeah.
So, yeah, it's nice to see.
I mean, if you were to run another game after this,
you go back to ninjas.
No, I wouldn't go back to
Well, I mean, a little bit along the same. I have a as you know, I have a tendency of playing characters that are good at one thing.
Yeah.
Like they tend to have, and there's nothing different about Ezekiel in this matter. The thing that what he's good at is knowledge, and he's bad at everything else that makes him an adventurer.
Yeah, it may not have come across yet.
Maybe not.
It probably did.
No,
It probably did.
No,
To be
definitely.
fair, you did ace the whole. You did ace the whole hanging on to the.
Only
sales
because I
stuff.
tied him to the mast.
Yeah, it wasn't Matt rolling a crit 20 or anything. You know?
No, absolutely not. But no, I just tend to basically, when I make characters, they are hyper focused and they have a thing that they're good at. And I thought this time, I don't play spellcasters really. I normally play high charisma characters or people who can kick your ass in a fight.
Because you are a big fan in other role-playing games of kind of being that guy who builds an army.
Yeah.
Or builds a force or something like
Yeah. But like in this case, I was like, well, you know what? Someone who's not good in combat and D&D, regardless of how you view it, it's very combat orientated. It's a very good role playing system, but a good half of the book and every character
Even in
class,
Dead,
and every character class is geared towards what abilities do I get to fight with. So, but I thought it would be an interesting challenge to make a character who not only will literally be a fish out of water, so he's an academic on a boat of pirates.
Well, it's a boat full of academics.
Yeah.
To be fair, the numbers are.
He's also not very good at being an adventurer.
Yeah.
You know, if he's Daniel Jackson, but without the obscure ability to wield a P90.
Yeah.
I think that's
That was an old school reference.
Yeah. He's Daniel Jackson in the Stargate movie, not Daniel Jackson in the Stargate TV series.
I think that's a good way to look at it as well, because a lot of the time, and I think I've done it for pretty much most of the characters I've made, you already have this backstory where they're experienced, and then they've got this really heroic backstory where they're all epic and awesome, because, you know, it's escapism, it's what we want to do.
But your first level.
So your idea of your character doesn't always reflect what they can do in the game.
Yeah.
So having one, like you said, that is bad at this stuff kind of reflects them being that level, because hopefully at least you'll get better as it goes on.
Hopefully. But like a thing that hasn't fully come up, well, I don't think it's come up at all really in the game, but you know, a thing that, as we're talking about what made me decide to be this character, is that like I've also given him a very bland backstory. He's not seeking vengeance. His entire family hasn't been killed. You know, he's not a chosen one.
Thanks, Matt.
Those are stereotypical. I mean, your character's cliche, and you know.
I love cliches are fantastic.
Yeah, it doesn't always mean bad.
So as long as not everyone's doing it, it's fine.
You know I'm joking. No, he's essentially, I've given him a boring backstory. He's the third son of a noble house that basically he's scholarly, and his parents were like, you've got an adept for magic, go to the college and be that. We don't really care that much about you. Like, so he's got
too real.
Well, yeah, he essentially, like, he's not true. No, but essentially he has no manifest destiny. I think that's the point of Ezekiel, is like he's not destined to save the world from his backstory.
He's the everyday hero.
To some extent, that makes him the manifesto, because
he is the have-a-go hero.
Campbellian arc is like 0 to hero, isn't it? You know, and that's very much the D&D model. Is that like you're not really anyone, even though you're slightly better than everybody else, you're still not really anyone. You know, like Pyridin from the Welsh stuff was just a pig farmer. You know, like Frodo is just a dude. So in some ways, you kind of have
he's not even a dude.
The most cliche.
He's the nephew.
I mean, Matt Colville. He talks about a thing that he does, like, and I think this is probably what like inspired me, because I've started watching his his
Man is a Genius.
The Man is a Genius. But he talks about when he runs games, like, you know, your characters were until level 1, and normally that's not very long. They were farmers. They were sailors. They were watchmen. Like, and like that. These early levels are designed to be. It's Frodo, as you brought him up, like it's Frodo during the first book. It's going from that humble background and realizing that maybe you're destined for more. And like at the moment, like Ezekiel in no way, shape or form considers himself a hero. and in no way, shape or form is a hero. He's a bloke trying to get to somewhere to look at some moths, and has somehow ended up on a pirate ship.
Yeah. But what I love about that is, like, as a DM, I'm doing something totally different. Like, it's a whole other challenge. Like, what you do as a DM, like, as natural sort of, when you get character backstories, is you kind of go, where are the hooks? Click, 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 click. I can pull those into the campaign and just throw them out as I want. So when you get none of that intentionally, not like because there are lazy players who don't give you anything, but like when you get none of that intentionally, you kind of have to kind of think, right, okay, so what else in the character is important? What can I grab hold of, and where can I see them going? And it's weird. You do this thing where you start thinking about the future of the campaign, rather than just everything being about choices that have been made before everything begins.
Yeah.
Because actually the choices you make in the game are the important ones.
Yeah.
I mean, they're all great in different ways. Like, I already know, for example, quite a lot about your backstory. The audience at this point knows very little, which is kind of nice. And yours as well. So it's kind of like that those, I don't know whether backstories inform those characters to begin with. I think you had an idea for a story already. Is that right?
My character kind of came prior to D&D.
Yeah.
And then I was like, oh, I could actually roleplay her. That'd be amazing. Yeah.
Cool. So was it? Were you writing a story, or did you just?
It was just a character I had floating around in the back of my mind. I'd never actually written anything. But one of the reasons I really like D&D is you can then see, oh, maybe this character can go somewhere. And I might want to write about it.
I was going to say it could be a great writing tool in itself.
Yeah.
I think like what you go, like you've got a character idea in mind. I think like, and this isn't you, because I personally think you're a very good DM, but like that can be a very dangerous thing to bring to a role-playing table. If you've got an idea for a character and you've got an idea for their arc, now while
I'm just remembering something that Sonny did once. We'll come to it in a minute.
But if you've got an idea for their arc and like you discuss it with the, because like roleplay should be organic, and there's no right or wrong way to roleplay, but like sometimes you might go, I'm really interested in telling this story.
Yeah, absolutely.
And you can talk with your DM beforehand and go, right, I'm playing someone who's broken, this thing's happened in their past, and I want them throughout your campaign, so long as I play it right, to be able to redeem themselves. So I want there to be an option that you put in along the way where I get to redeem myself. But like, if for whatever reason you've got a DM who doesn't fulfill that promise, it can be a real letdown.
Yeah, so I tend to look more at past and then just leave it.
Yeah.
The cool thing is that the flip to that is obviously your idea of who the character is challenged. And then you go in directions that you as a single writer would never go in.
Yeah, that's something I've experienced recently in actually Matt DMing for me, is not so much I had an idea of where the character was going, but he had a very elaborate backstory, because I always run with backstory because then you end up with like 4 pages rather than a paragraph.
Yeah.
But there was this track that the character was going along, and it was all like, yes, the character does this, oh, that happens, well, that's exactly, the character would definitely do this. And then a couple of sessions ago, Matt just dropped something in that was basically everything you know is a lie, and since then, I've been, do you know the AOL dial-up tone?
Playing catch-up.
Yes, because I'm having to reassess as a character how they'd act with this situation that is completely different.
What did I do?
This requires
like how everything before this has been white noise to Sonny. So you've said something Sonny did.
So
I've been listening.
A while back.
Was this back in Golden Age?
No, this is Iron Age. So we played a Mutants and Masterminds, just a superhero game, and in it we went through the various ages of superhero comics. It took us like 5 years to play the whole campaign out. But when we hit the 80s, Sonny built a character who was like this refugee from a fantasy world, and he was like, his son had gone missing, and he was trying to find his son and save him. I think in Sonny's mind,
wasn't it in Modern Age? No, it was Iron Age.
And in Sonny's mind, he was going to arrive and be this like swashbuckling hero in the middle of all this darkness, and like really like the full on like anime hero character. And like in the first 5
It was
minutes,
a fantasy.
you came from fantasy world. So in the first 5 minutes, he was hit by a car. He had no idea what cars are.
He tried to rescue a prostitute who he started fighting the pimp.
And then the prostitute was like, "Why are you taking my only source of income?" and stabbing him. So like it got really dark, and he ended up like
It was like Enchanted, but in World of Darkness.
So like, he ended up like living in a sewer, ruling this like mob of sewer people.
Yeah, legit.
Yeah, it's just nice sometimes a character doesn't survive impact, but then you see them in a new light, and that's really interesting.
Yeah, no encounter survives contact with the players, and no player survives contact with the encounter.
I think no player survives contact with the car either.
No.
It's good advice for players actually. Is like don't get too hung up on who you are before the game has started, because you will change. You will adapt. If you don't, that's one of we discussed it before. That's why I like having Sonny in a game, because he'll come with this very solid idea, but the moment it meets a game, he'll just throw everything out and start again, which is nice. So yours came from a kind of different, because you were like, well, actually, I've got this idea for a character, but I have no idea about who he is.
I still don't.
Yeah, you do, like, because you kind of went, well, I kind of want to do this sort of a culture. Does this culture exist? And I'm like, well, I haven't written all the world yet, so yeah, sure.
It does now.
Yeah.
Well, that's another, like, just a thing to interject. Like, that's a cool thing I love about doing role-playing games, is like when you're running a game, you shouldn't build all of the world. Like, and a piece of advice to, if there are any DMs watching this, you don't have to write every facet of your world. What you'll find is that if you have players that engage, they'll write it for you.
Yeah.
Like, and like in the terms of Semet, like Ben hasn't. I'm assuming by the time you hadn't written an Egyptian analog people in your world.
Yeah, I still haven't.
Yeah.
They're a really weird group of people who just sit out in the desert and don't talk to anyone.
Super mysterious.
Yeah.
So you guys were talking a little bit about. You guys were talking a little bit about direction for a character as well. So I think the whole play around the mysterious artifact that I have, it's I have a goal in a respect, but there's still a lot of room within that to actually adapt how it's approached.
Yeah, and I don't want to reveal too much because you are kind of Mr. Mystery. But like, I remember there was a moment when we were chatting about it online, and you were like, "That's the thing I want to do." And then we kind of worked out what's happening with it a little bit, but not loads. Like, you know some stuff, but you don't know all of it. And then even when you figure it out, there's somewhere else to go with it.
So in terms of not giving away any plot points, but in terms of making the character, for example, did the Egyptian thing come first? Did the hourglass come in first?
So
was it kind of a mix and one appeared after?
There was almost a class one in, I think.
Yeah. So the first. So I wanted to. So I'm quite a big fan of like role-playing games and like online role-playing games and things like that. And I've always wanted to fit a role that everybody needs, or a role that's sought after. So a healer was the first thing that came to mind. So I was like, nobody really wants to play a character. It's kind of boring, but it's not really. So I'm gonna make it kind of interesting. So. I recently bought Xanathar, as I say recently, about a year ago now.
Yeah, it's funny how reading a product can sometimes you go, "Ooh, that."
Yeah, exactly.
Yeah. So, which is what you're doing at the moment with, "Ooh, Phoenix, whatever."
So I'm going on top of that. I wanted to go by. I didn't want to go by Player's Handbook because it's it's the kind of standard that's set. So I wanted to choose something slightly different. So I was like, what in here? How can I utilise this book? So I went through Cleric and I was like, okay, I picked my class already. So what's cool in here? And I was like, Grave Cleric. That sounds super unoriginal. Like. It's cliched, but it's kind of unoriginal. Like nobody is a healer that's kind of undead in a respect. Like, so I was like, okay, I'm going to play that, and then I kind of moulded the character around.
Kind of more like you heal them because you're in charge of death rather than bringing them life.
Yeah, exactly. And I had like that whole kind of. I had a thought actually of. Can we TM?
They can't sue us for it.
If you say it's great afterwards, it's a review, right?
So I'm a big fan of the Warhammer universe,
which is great.
It is.
It's great, yeah.
And one of the gods, God of Change, kind of gave me a little bit of influence as well with it as well. So it was like, I don't know. I took a little bit of influence from it as well. It was like the life and death kind of thing as well. So.
But that's one of my favourite things to do in role playing as well, which is like taking an existing IP or an existing idea and then moulding it, to something that's your own. And
I kind of did something similar.
I mean, you
if you imagine Warcraft universe, which is great,
It is very good.
But I kind of moulded my character off one of the orcs from there, so Gramash, Hellscream. Yeah. Whilst he's not exactly the same looking as Hellscream's got lots of hair.
And a lot bigger.
A lot bigger, yeah.
And enormously.
Yeah,
It has that weird, blue steel look.
Yeah.
It's only third level, give him time.
Give me time. I'm already quite handsome already, I just got to get more muscly.
Just you wait till you see mine.
No. But, I mean, it's great to take something from that, but not use it as it is, but make it something of your own. And I think that, again, that's a fantastic idea.
I mean, I don't want this to sound like a dig, but it's something you've done that a lot. Like when we role play together, like a lot of your characters have often been based off of something else in pop culture, but you've done exactly what you've said. Is you can look at your characters and go, oh, that's so and so, but not.
Yeah.
Like you can see they're inspired by.
Yeah, I get inspired by pop culture. And I think it's.
There's nothing wrong with that,
well,
especially.
That's the point, isn't it? It's popular culture.
Yeah, I'm gonna say, and there's nothing wrong with that, especially like not every idea you have and not everything that you want to play and do has to be original.
No.
Like you can go, oh, I super like this idea, and I'm going to use that as a crutch to help me tell the story. And like I think we've probably all done that in our role-playing lifetime.
That 5-year Mutants Mastermind game was totally just me throwing pop culture at the wall.
Yeah.
It's like
you teamed up with Martin Luther King.
We did.
Yeah, it's like when I get a chance to play a monk, I want to take the ideals from like Bruce Lee, Jet Li, Jackie Chan, Tony Yard from he does Muay Thai, so taking all of that sort of stuff there.
Yeah.
But the iconic things, they set the precedent for how we see things. So like an orc in fantasy, green and strong.
Absolutely, and like first edition Ranger is just like, do you want to play Aragorn? You sure? You just want to play Aragorn?
They even say that in like a lot of references to it. Is it's your classic Aragorn?
Yeah.
Every kind of thing you look at has come from somewhere. Monks. It's about.
Mountain Dew.
Yeah, that culture. Everything. Nothing is completely original anymore.
Product placement.
Yeah. But I mean,
I'll hold it like this.
To sort of go back to your character, like, my favourite interaction so far between Ezekiel and Sama is on the boat when Ezekiel's trying to make friends and he just comes up to you and is like, hey, that hourglass you're really super protective of, like, do you need to talk about it? And you were just like, nah, bro. you literally just shut that conversation. You're like, it's not a burden. And then Ezekiel was just like, well.
Which is something again.
It's now super awkward.
But that kind of reflects something. I think I was talking to Becky about it because Becky's, I think, the newest of us into this role playing. Is as a new player, and when you have this amazing backstory, sometimes you can be really, really keen to reveal that backstory because you want to share it because you're excited about it and you know it's a good backstory. But in the same like mirroring that encounter, you don't always have to do that. If you're playing a campaign from level 1 to level 20, that's going to take some time. You have got plenty of time for your character's backstory to reveal itself or not. You know.
Well, I've got it in my head for this character that this artifact is so mysterious and precious that he doesn't want to, unless it's his own people, he doesn't want to express that in any way, but I don't want to reveal anything about it.
But that's a beautiful character work. That is like that's human. Like you know that you know you
coveting something that you
absolutely. And I think that's a great thing. Like in D&D, it's like I often find that so long as the party gets along on the battle map, in terms
have to
like you kind of like there is that whole thing of like you've got to get along tactically on the battle map, otherwise the party's going to die.
Can I just interrupt you 1 second as well? Yeah, you do have to get along. It doesn't work if you don't get along. So long as you get along on that battle map and you get through the encounter, you can have pretty much as much friction as you want.
So I said that to you guys that session when we had like that 2-hour argument about whether you were going north or not. Like,
you do have to draw a line on it because you do have a finite amount of time.
Well, no, I mean, there's it's not D&D, but like there's the Star Trek Adventures game. Star Trek Adventures game has a fantastic mechanic in it where like, or I'm not sure if it's a mechanic or if it's just the DM that I'm watching at the moment, if he's just doing it to himself, but essentially the players get a thing called momentum and he gets a thing called threat. And what he does is, if the party's taking too long and just talking in circles, he just starts awarding himself threat.
Well, you've started doing that as well, haven't you? Or you did it at a point.
I maybe.
It's the same as the countdown dice that I
Yeah.
sometimes use.
But I go, like sometimes, like as a DM, you like a party will, a group of people will just talk in a circle.
What you've seen in this campaign,
About shopping.
So, well,
or about books.
for the viewers, it's you have to. You don't limit yourself by time or direction, but you have to
Be aware.
Yeah, you have to be aware of the story has to continue. So
Yeah.
I think that's kind of what you're trying to get at.
Yeah, no, like sometimes the DM has to force you along, but at the same time you've got to think like, there's one thing about your characters having human aspects, but at the same time, like your characters in a weird like fourth wall breaking kind of way, they have to understand the fact that they have to move the narrative along.
Yeah.
Like, how you translate that into actually it seeming natural can sometimes be a challenge, but like, or just as players, just as players, you've got to be aware that at some point in this 4-hour session that you're playing, you've got to move the fuck on.
There's a great article about it in one of the old Dragons, like 290 to 320, somewhere in that bracket, where like it's called like logjam busting or something, which is the most ridiculous title. But it's the idea of like each of these plots are like logs down a river, and they're like creating a dam, and then you have to go in and whack them out. It's a pretty good article.
Yeah.
Yeah. On the flip side, it depends on your group and everything, but maybe more so with it being on camera for entertainment value a little bit. I know we don't really play it for entertainment.
Yeah.
But on one hand, can you move the narrative along? Yes. But on the flip side, don't move it along just for the sake of it. If there's a moment where your characters kind of need to have this discussion for the next hour,
it's contextual though.
Yeah, again, like you say, it's about being aware.
Yeah,
you've got to know when you should
you
and
should have
shouldn't.
gone home hours ago, and your kids are right.
Yeah, if someone's wife is going to be really angry at you because it was meant to run till midnight and you got home at around 2.
It's fine. She plays. She understands.
I quite like groups though where you do have that scope to occasionally just do not exactly normal things, but things you wouldn't necessarily expect to find in a
I think
like shopping.
Yeah, that did happen.
Well, I mean,
it happens in every campaign.
It's fine. It happens.
Like Ben's told me of a story. He used to run Werewolf. Do you still run that Werewolf campaign?
Probably. It's just that they're like ridiculously long. Werewolf and Vampire campaign that tie into each other and don't ever end.
No, but Ben, with the pack that he was running for, like they spent like a chunk of a session doing Christmas. like they did a whole thing where like they were all
werewolves don't do Christmas. It doesn't fit their spirituality in any way. But one of the characters was like, "We've got to do Christmas because I'm missing being a human."
There's also like
I could because you were going to say
was that like an interim episode? Or?
Probably not, because
no, it was in the middle of they got stuff going on in New York where like it was about to be the end of their lives, so they decided to very quickly do Christmas shopping.
And I think we and even though again time is precious, but you can do that sort of thing. How often does this group meet up?
Oh God,
once every blue moon.
Once every Christmas.
No, it's literally it should be more common. It's like maybe once a year,
and yet
maybe once every 2 years.
Yeah, and yet you still take a session that you have once every 2 years to do Christmas. So sometimes
it was a 4-hour gap. I mean, we play when we do this, we play the whole.
But still, you still take that time to do that.
But
they're the best bits, really. All the bits you didn't plan.
I mean, like what Becky was on about, like. Sometimes it can be nice to just do normal things as someone else, you know.
I'll bear that in mind as well. If you like that bit.
But it breathes
like death and tragedy.
But no, it breathes normalcy into the characters. It makes them feel a little bit more real. Like
I've always said that, like giving a character a mundane hobby is another way to humanise them because they are actually meant to be people.
Speaking of like kind of random plots as well, like generating a whole Swedish dwarf people.
That's a whole other thing of DMing on the fly, isn't it?
In a cart.
I'm going to do a whole video on it.
Please. The group that I run, they were in a dungeon and they were fighting ice mythics, and the bard decided to play a performance for them, and he rolled a crit. So he ended up not only performing a really good song, but the ice mythics decided to join him. And then they formed a band called the Ison Maiden. That's awful. Yeah.
Brilliant.
Also reminds me of another
that
thing
way.
that happened. A D20 on a bag of holding, was that?
Yeah.
Alright, this.
But I thought, well, you know.
Yeah. I mean, this is me having a moan, especially after saying there's no wrong way to roleplay. But one of the things that often annoys me is like 20s being
random.
Well, no,
crazy.
Well, yeah, like someone.
The dwarf takes flight.
What? Yeah, like
20s aren't a miracle.
Yeah, no, it's like there's got to be. I can't remember. Like there was a game I was playing, and someone was trying to convince someone else that their shoes were purple, and they rolled a crit, and they're like, "Well, surely he now believes that his shoes are purple." But I was like,
yeah.
he's not a gullible individual, and he's got eyes.
But on the other side, I think those critical roles, even though because they are few and far between, they don't really happen so often. But they make for the most memorable moments.
Oh no, they do. Yeah. No,
they need to have that flavour to them, but not.
I'm just being a grumpy old bastard, even though I'm only 28 years old. But it's the dwarf, clearly.
It's realism in a fantasy world.
There's got to be what you're trying to do.
You can't be stupid about it.
Yeah.
It's that whole thing about.
We were having fun. I'm going to stop having a moan.
But no, people do have a moan about like that in like, for example, like physics not working properly in a fantasy world, and people get angry about that. Like the whole Sam Tarly in Game of Thrones?
No, it's not spoilers.
No, it's not spoiler. But yeah, his character.
Has lost weight.
Yeah, they complain, and I think it was the same thing about Hurley and Lost. You're on this island, you're in this place for like a year, but you haven't lost weight. It's like there's dragons and weird smoke monsters, but you're obsessed with this.
But they did actually write an explanation into why Hurley hadn't lost weight, and that's that he had a stash of confectionery.
I hadn't lost weight.
Yeah. But to get like slightly off topic of D&D and just general nerd culture, that's the thing. Like you can watch a show, you can watch a space opera, and like. You know, unless you're Neil deGrasse Tyson, not care about the fact that there's noise in space, or that you're doing, or that your ships are flying as if they're in an atmosphere and stuff like that.
Or they always appear facing the same way up.
But
it's really interesting because it's all actually like what you're talking about is that like that breadth of the suspension of disbelief, and where verisimilitude is important and where it isn't.
Well,
so like it's actually two angles. Where Becky started, where she was saying, well, I really enjoy those little bits we get to do that are kind of like normal life but weird. That's one end, and maybe the appearance of that like, you know, you're just having normal conversations and life continues and you see the day to day anchors the reality enough that this end of the spectrum doesn't feel too
well. The way I often categorise it is things that your suspension of disbelief is held for the fantastical. So stuff that doesn't exist in this world, your suspension of disbelief is held. But stuff that does exist, and the Samuel Tarly one, like I understand the argument that the actor made, but like the problem, like dragons, as far as we know, don't and have never existed in this world, nor have ice zombies. But a fat person who's living very far away on minimal rations and has then been on a forced march for a month will have lost weight, and it's that weird nerd thing where your suspension of disbelief for something that is fantastical is as big as the universe. But as soon as something that you have to suspend your disbelief before, at least this is my opinion, that you have to suspend your disbelief before that you've seen with your own two goddamn eyes, you go, bullshit.
But you know, the thing is, like, it's not that fantastical to me. Like, I've done all kinds of exercise. I can't shift this cup.
You see, the thing with Samuel Tarly is he's not actually fat. It's just all muscle, like Kingpin.
He's just like one block.
Well, it's a kind of a semi-theory about it. It's like part of that could be why you like role-playing, because I've thought a lot about it recently, about why different people like role-playing.
Because I'm overweight.
That's one reason, yes. Another one is, one of the reasons that I quite liked it, or at least used to, is the escapism of it.
Yes.
Is that it's nice to be out of your mundane or stressful or not head into this other world where you're this, you know, pirate swinging from rafters, and when things happen that kind of, yes, it would exist in this fantasy world, that's fine because you're in this world in your head.
Yeah.
But then when things like that appear, that kind of break that fourth wall of physics almost, it makes you go, hang on, I'm just pretending that shouldn't happen, and it kind of breaks that facade a little bit, and it breaks that wall, and that's maybe one of the reasons that's.
I mean, why we roleplay is a massively interesting topic.
That could be an episode on itself.
But like, yeah,
it's true though.
I mean, it's
very true.
well, to me. You
Do
know,
you reckon we could roleplay the most realistic people ever?
That's what we said.
Yeah, we're not real people.
We're actually from America, but that market is taken.
Yeah.
No,
but it's
just sorry, just what? Go.
It's true. Sorry, yeah, no, it's true what
Luke.
What Luke said. My brain is just frazzled. It's really warm up here.
Yeah,
we don't know it. We don't know
This is the hottest thing that there's been.
Yeah, and it's only 12 degrees.
But it's